Welcome to Country Cookin'. I'm your hostess, Cindy Schumacher. On today's show, we're going to be making sopa de tortilla, which is a tortilla soup, quesadillas, a white queso dip, and a sopapilla cheesecake pie. It's kind of a Mexican theme, and it's getting close to Super Bowl, so I thought it might be kind of fun to do something that give you some ideas. Maybe you can use one thing or two things or all of them or whatever. So we're going to start with the dessert, and I have 2 8-ounce cream cheese that are soft, and I'm going to throw in a cup of granulated sugar. And add a teaspoon of vanilla. It actually says Mexican vanilla, but I don't have Mexican vanilla, so we're gonna have to settle for what I have. Okay, I'll let that sit for a minute, and then you need 2 rolls of crescent roll dough, and you want to roll those out into like a 9 by 13 shape. Probably a little bit too much flour there. Sometimes it's easier just to use your fingers, press the seams together, because a rolling pin doesn't see that. Pretty good. I've I've sprayed the 9 by 13 pan with the pan. Looks like that. And then put the cream cheese mixture over the top of that. This is a very simple dessert, you won't believe it, and it's very delicious. I actually found this on the internet, and I don't know if you know anything about, some of you who don't use internet, there's sites where you can go and find recipes and people can do comments, and there were over 1,500 comments to the positive about this dessert. Everybody just loves it. So I've made sopapillas before, but they're basically the fried dough. You deep fry them, and small flat little pieces, but this has the creamy center, and it's a lot easier. You don't have to be frying with hot oil or anything. So we'll set that to the side, and then we roll out the other one. And this gets put right on top of there. And then it bakes at 350 for 30 minutes. If the seams aren't closed perfectly, or they open up when you place it on top, don't worry about that, because the dough will puff up. Oops, I got a tear there. And and they'll close up. Now we're going to combine 3/4 cup of granulated sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon, use a whisk or a fork and make sure it's blended real well so you don't have clumps of cinnamon or places where there isn't any cinnamon. I'm going to soften the butter just for a few seconds in here. And then after it's all done and baked, then we drizzle a 1/4 cup of honey on it. What I do here then is I just take a pastry blender and just kind of incorporate that butter into the cinnamon and sugar. And then just dot it over the top of the sopapilla. And this will spread as it bakes too, so don't worry if there's areas that are bare. As long as you get it kind of all over on all the areas so it can spread. Okay, so it looks like that. Goes in the oven 30 minutes at 350. Now, remember, as usual, if you want a copy of any of the recipes that we're going to be using today, if you have internet, go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net, and you'll see the Country Cooking Cow on the right. That's where you click on to find the recipes. If you don't have internet, give the girls at the office a call at Valley and they'll be happy to get you a copy of the recipe. So we're going to get the soup started and then we'll take a quick break and start cleaning up. I'm going to throw 2 tablespoons of oil into a Dutch oven. And then to that, I'm going to throw in a 1/2 of a green pepper diced, finely diced, minced actually if you can, 3 stalks of celery that are also diced very finely or minced, a medium onion, also minced, a jalapeno pepper, finely chopped, and 2 cloves of garlic. If you don't use fresh garlic, you can use the garlic in the jar, or you can use a garlic powder. I like to use either it in the jar or the fresh garlic. It just gives you a more authentic flavor. And we're going to get that cooking. We'll let that cook for 5 or 10 minutes or so on a medium heat. So I'm going to take a quick break and clean up, and then we'll get back to the soup. Be right back.
Blazing fast broadband internet from Valley is now available and better than ever. Let us help you decide which speed is best for you. The 50 meg speed would be sufficient for 1 to 4 devices, mainly emailing and surfing the web. Our 100 meg speed works great for 5 to 8 devices and multiple users streaming and downloading video. If you have 8 devices or more that are simultaneously streaming or gaming, or if you have a medium-sized business, the 250 meg speed would work best for you. For extreme heavy home or work from home use, or if you have a medium to large business using 15 or more devices, you may want to consider our 500 meg download speed to fit your needs. And if you're a home or business that needs it all, we have our 1000 meg, 1 gig broadband internet speed. Call our office today at 437-2615 and talk with one of our staff members to pick the speed that's best for you.
Okay, we're going to keep working on the soup now. We've got the vegetables that are pretty tender, so we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. We have 5 ounces of Rotel tomatoes and green chilies mixed, so close to about a half of a can. A 14-ounce can of tomatoes. I'm using the petite diced. Okay. This is 2 cups of chicken that has been cooked and diced. Beef broth, 1.5 cups. And chicken broth is 3.5 cups. Seems like a lot of liquid, but it cooks down. Okay, to this now we'll start adding our spices. Cumin, we need a teaspoon. A teaspoon of chili powder. I've had a lot of tortilla soups at restaurants and everything like that. This recipe is not quite as heavy, but it's delicious once you get all the seasonings and everything in there. You need a teaspoon of salt. Half teaspoon of lemon pepper. Worcestershire, 2 teaspoons, we're going to add a can of tomato soup. That'll kind of thicken it up a little bit. I need a skinnier spatula. got everything in there except the cheese. I'm going to add that in a little bit, about a cup of cheddar cheese. If you want to make your soup a little creamier too, you can add like half and half, or a little bit of cream if you just like that little bit of a creamier base. Then I'm going to start with 1 cup of water. I've got 2 here, it calls for 2. I'm going to cook it down a little bit, see how that looks. We may add that, we may not, but we'll let this come to a simmer, and so all the flavors kind of blend together. Okay, now for the quesadillas, you can use either chicken or beef. I chose to use beef because we're already putting chicken in the soup, so I thought it would be a little something different. So in your pan, you sprinkle a teaspoon of salt first. So you do that, and then I'm adding a pound of ground beef. This is 85% lean. A handy chopper. And then I'm going to add a half cup of chopped onion and cook that in with the beef. You can sprinkle that when you're assembling the quesadillas separately if you like the raw onion. Most people would rather have the onion cooked. And if you want to do something different too, you can go with green onions instead of the white or yellow onions. That would be another. But if you would use the green onions, then that again would be one you want to sprinkle in when you're doing the assembly. So get this cooking. I'm going to take a quick break and clean up, and then we're going to start with the queso dip. We'll be right back.
Get 3 months free access on all lines, plus a new 4G smartphone for only $4.99 a month. 2 great offers with Valley Cellular. Call Valley today at 437-2615 to take advantage of this great deal.
Okay, the beef is done. I'm going to drain the excess fat off. Oops. Now to the beef, we're going to add a can of diced green chilies and a can of petite diced tomatoes. Turn the heat down. Teaspoon of oregano. And we're going to mince garlic clove in there. Okay, and we're going to let that mixture kind of cook down so most of the liquid is absorbed, but we'll just keep it on a simmer, and then we'll start with the queso dip. I have half and half. This is a cup and a quarter, and we want to warm that first. And we'll give that a few minutes. The soup is doing well. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. I'm going to take a quick break and clean up. We'll be right back once that cream is warmed up.
Net is here. Valley now has higher broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabit. Get the bandwidth you need for all your devices at one time. Gaming with no lag time. Video stream your favorite movies instantly in HD quality. Video chat with friends and family without interruption. Download your favorite music and photos in seconds, all on our 100% fiber optics network. Valley offers managed Wi-Fi and backup services too, bringing together all the services you need. Valley Telecommunications Cooperative.
Okay, we're going to keep going here. I'm going to start on the queso dip. I have 3/4 cup of white American cheese, and I'm going to just do this in batches very slowly. We're going to reduce the heat to low so that it doesn't scald, and you pretty much have to stir it constantly. You can make this in the crock pot and just cook it on low, and it takes a while, you know, a few hours. Like, so if you were having a party in the evening or you know, a Super Bowl or something like that, you would want to start it a few hours in advance. So we'll get it going here. Now I'm going to add a cup of cheddar cheese to the soup, and then instead of adding the water, I'm going to make it a little bit creamy. I have a half cup here of half and half. I'm going to just stir a little bit of that in, so it has a little more of a creamy look to it, but it's not going to be a heavy cream soup because there's so much liquid in it and everything. So this is still cooking down, and I'm going to keep on stirring the queso. Also, the dessert is about ready to come out, I think. Get that out. No, I'm going to give it just a couple more minutes. It looks a little soft in the middle, so we'll give it a few minutes. So I'm going to remind you one more time as we're finishing up here that if you want a copy of any of these recipes, and I hope you do, call the girls at Valley. They'll be happy to give you a copy if you don't have internet, and if you do have internet, just go to the website www.valleytel.net and go to the Country Cooking Cow and click that cow, and you'll see all the recipes there. So we'll take a break while I'm stirring the cheese. We'll be right back.
Valley is now offering updated digital TV packages and prices. Ask us about the brand new Choice TV package. Call Valley today at 437-2615.
We've got the dessert done. Pull it out of the oven. Keep stirring that cheese. I don't want that to scald. Now, even when it's hot, you take a 1/4 cup of honey and you drizzle that over the top. And then you want to chill this. Best served chilled because of the cheese, the cream cheese in it. Now to the queso, I've got all the white American cheese melted, so I'm going to add the 4 ounces of mozzarella. And that's going to melt a little more rapidly because it's shredded instead of chunks. I'll put this in the refrigerator. We'll take a quick break. I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients to the queso dip. This is 2 jalapeno peppers that is finely diced. We have crushed red pepper flakes. I'm going to use a teaspoon of that. A teaspoon of chili powder. Stir so it doesn't start to scald. Okay, and the last ingredients are a 1/4 teaspoon each of the salt and pepper. And we need nutmeg. There we go. A half teaspoon. I just about forgot. You don't think about nutmeg in something like this, but okay, that is done. I'm going to just turn it just barely on warm while we start assembling our quesadillas. So let me just quick clean up, we'll be right back.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
We're going to start assembling the quesadillas. I have flour tortillas. The smaller ones are easier to handle. So I've got oil in the skillet that I've heated, and so then you start adding your ingredients. First I put a few scoops of the meat mixture on. And then we'll sprinkle a little bit of Monterey Jack cheese on. And a little bit of cheddar cheese. And then you take another shell. Oops, got a bent one there. And we're going to press that on. And we're going to let that tortilla on the bottom just brown just slightly, and then we're going to flip it. So I heated up a little bit more jalapeno peppers I'm going to add to the queso dip just to give it a little bit more of a bite. It was just a little bit mild for us, and we like it a little bit zippier. So I'm going to add this all back together, and we'll dish it up again once that cooks in there a little bit more. Now, the one thing that I know I've told you before, whenever you make something, make it your own. If you think it needs to have a little more sauce, just like this the last show when we made the spaghetti, I added the can of tomato sauce to it. The recipe didn't call for that, but I kind of felt like it needed just a little bit more liquid in it. So don't be afraid just because it's not written in the recipe that you can't do it. Make it your own. Do it how to your taste. Let that cook a little bit. Get a spatula here and we'll see how that's doing. Give it just a few more minutes. These are not easy to flip, and we may have a little bit of problem, but that's all part of the, cooking should not be so serious. You've got to have a little fun. You got to laugh a little bit. As you've probably seen on some of my previous shows, I do drop things and I spill things and everything, but you can't take yourself so seriously. Have a little fun while you're cooking and enjoy it, because food is to be celebrated. Give just another minute. These can also be served as an appetizer if you want to. You can make them in advance and then put them in the oven. Okay, nice and brown on that side, so I'm going to give it a flip. So it looks like that. I'm going to get this other side browning, and then we'll make another one. My husband even eats these cold. I know we came home from being out one evening and he went straight to the refrigerator and grabbed one and just started eating it cold, and so you can do that too. Okay, I think this one's ready. Hardly entered. Okay, I'm gonna get another one going. Got the meat mixture on, and I'm going to sprinkle again with cheese. If you want to do some other things, you can use your imagination. You want to add something that you think would be good in there, and then you can also serve these with sour cream and salsa on the side if you like. Put the second shell on and press it down. Now while that's cooking, we'll go ahead and serve. You can, sometimes in the stores you can find those little tortilla strips. You can serve those on the soup if you like. Otherwise you can crumble just these kind of tortilla chips on there or eat it plain. Let's see, spoon here. Get some dessert out. Just check this other tortilla here. First one is always the hard one to get out. Not too bad. And there you go. We've got our sopa de tortilla, our quesadilla, our white queso dip, and our sopapilla cheesecake pie. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Country Cooking. We hope to see you next time.